My name is Amritraj Athwal. I'm incarcerated in California Department of Corrections. I was sentenced at 21 years old to life without the possibility of parole for taking the life of another human being. I would like to begin by speaking about how people think prison is a bad place. And it is. But for me, for people like me, prison is necessary, and it restores us back to who we were supposed to be. I am Punjabi. Punjab is a state in India. In my culture, the relationship between fathers and their sons is very different from the way it is in America. In my culture, and especially in my family, men don't show their emotions. Talking about feelings was never a part of my father's upbringing. So naturally, he didn't pass this along to me. And more importantly, he was very emotionalist and isolated. When he was upset, since he was self-employed, when there wasn't work for days straight, he would just shut down and just sleep it off. At 14 years old, I was informed by the police that my father had committed suicide. I was devastated. And this was the event that changed the direction of my life completely. My definition of a man when my dad was alive wasn't very descriptive, but the example set by the only man that I looked up to left me clueless and forced me to create my own image of what a man truly was. I turned to the streets, and my lack of self-confidence, along with my need to be accepted, led me to convince myself the definition of a man was someone people feared, someone who had money, power, and respect, someone that was reckless and dangerous. I strive to become just that, which is exactly what led me to throw away my future and be sentenced to spend the rest of my natural life in a prison cell. Prison was truly what saved me from myself. Sitting in a cell, trapped with my thoughts and pain, all the things I had been running from, I now had to face. I have spent day after day, year after year, slowly rewiring my brain and breaking myself from the false beliefs, from the false image I created, and the false definition of what it means to be a man. Today, my definition of what it means to be a man is a lot different. My definition of being a man is being there for my family. It means to be reliable, to be trustworthy, to have integrity. It means to be selfless and to live with character. I could never have said this about myself when I was lost in my old ways. And I have learned this from all the pain, shame, and hurt I've experienced locked behind these walls. Today, despite being physically separated from my family, I am emotionally present for them. I talk to my mother daily. I realize all the sacrifices she has made for me and all the trials and tribulations she has walked with me through. And this is one of my biggest motivations. None of these realizations or growth would have occurred if it wasn't for the consequences of my choices as a young man. I have developed my definition of what it means to be a man through my faith in God. My faith holds me very accountable for the things I say, the way I act, and the way I treat people. I have committed my life to being a man that I can be proud of, that the innocent man whose life I robbed from his family can at least respect. Because when I came in, I was just a boy. A lot of meaning in my life comes from self-reflection. From my childhood, I have been running from my problems. I have numbed myself from pain, finding every way to not have to be present in the moment. After my incarceration, I began to discover my faith, reading self-help books, and eventually discover meditation. Meditation has been a very important tool for me to truly begin the journey of knowing myself. It has helped me to have more self-awareness and be present in the moment. I have participated in every positive program I have been able to join. And one of the most important programs I have been able to participate in is YAP, a program where we are able to meet at-risk youth who are brought to a tour of prison and spend about half of their day here with us. I have been truly able to give back through this opportunity. The young men I meet remind me of myself. They are young, with no role model at home, no father in their life, in the foster care system, or just dealt a really hard hand. It is very meaningful to me because despite these young men never having met us being complete strangers, they are willing to pour their hearts out to us because they relate to us more than anyone else in their lives. It's really sad because these young men are influenced by the culture of music promoting crime, violence, and drugs. This really hurts me because these are the same things that used to be my influences. One thing I always make it a point to share with them is I know exactly what you're feeling because I was in the same seats as you when I was 14 years old. I went through a same program like this right after my dad's death, and I didn't take it seriously. And now look where I'm at. There's nothing glamorous about throwing your lives away in exchange for prison blues, so don't think it can't happen to you. It means a lot to me that when these young men come in, they're trying their hardest to keep their composure and look fearless, but by the time they leave, they are in tears, giving us hugs and giving us blessings. This gives me a very strong purpose. See, I can't give these young men this guidance, then live in a negative way when they leave. I look around at me, at men the same age as me who are also serving life sentences, and they have given up completely on themselves. They are purposely dragging themselves to a point of no return, or living their lives motivated by the acceptance of their peers, willing to keep making choices that completely jeopardize any hope of a second chance to do things right, just to maintain a false image, the same false image I was trying to maintain as a young man. Today, my definition of being a man is doing the right thing, even when it's the hardest thing to do. See, we always knew right from wrong. We just justified our actions to help us free our conscience. To me, it means everything to acknowledge my false beliefs and do all I can to heal lives now instead of destroying them. Along with being in the Youth Adult Awareness Program, I am also in a second chance program for training shelter dogs to help them find a home. Training shelter dogs has been truly a big blessing for me. Just like speaking with the youth, I can see that I'm making a difference in these dogs' lives and impacting the world outside of these walls because that is where they go. It is a huge change because I have caused so much destruction around me, and now I'm helping these animals find their home. It is very meaningful to me today to be the change I want to see in the world. Within these prison walls, there's so much misery and negativity, so much wasted potential. I live my life being an example for others who may be struggling around me. I am a mentor on my yard. I'm involved in every positive group that there is that I can be a part of. I make it a point to go out of my way to share with someone who needs it, to be a friend that people can count on. Whether it's doing self-help groups in the day room, training others to help them become stronger dog trainers, or going to church services, today I refuse to allow prison and its false ideologies and principles control my life. And that reflects the definition of a man that I hold today. And that's all I have to share with you guys today.
You have been listening to The Prison Pod, a podcast not just for those in prison but for anyone who has been affected by incarceration. Ms. Valerie would love for you to write to her with your questions, comments, and show ideas. The address is Prison Pod, Post Office Box 294, Orono, Maine. 04473.